CSS tutorial series. So in this series, we'll be looking at CSS Selector. So what is CSS Selector? CSS Selector are used to find or select HTML elements you want to style within a given HTML page. Take for instance now, I've created this particular HTML page here. I've actually created this HTML page. So I have and I've linked the CSS style, this file, created a CSS file called style.css. I've also linked it up with my HTML document here. Then I've created this basic HTML content within the page. So then in our CSS selector series, we'll be looking at simple selector like element selector, ID selector, class selector, universal selector. Then we also look at group selector, attribute selector, pseudo class selector, pseudo element selector, and yes, I'm ready reference to group selector. So let's just begin now. So now let's take for instance, I want to start with element selector. When you want to select elements based on when you are using element selector, okay, that means you are selecting the element based on the element name or tag. So for instance, if I want to style this H1 element here now, so in my CSS file here, I will refer to it based on the name of the element I want to style and apply the CSS rule to it. So I will select H1. Okay, so once I've done that, I will apply the declaration block. So within this declaration block, I will specify the rule, the CSS rule I want to apply on this H1 element. So let's take, for instance, I want to increase the font size. Let's use the font size property, font size. Let's make it something like 3 rem. So if I should open the page in my browser now, right click on it, open with live server. Then this is the H1 element, and I've applied the font size property to 3 rem. So if I should increase it, if I want to change the background color, I can do the same thing with background color. Let's give it something like aqua. So if you check it out now, you see that the background color has changed. So that is element selector. It could be any element of your choice that actually you want to style, not necessarily it must be H1 element. Whatever element you want to style, you can select that element using the element name or the tag. So now let's quickly look at ID selector now. So now means you are actually selecting the element based on the ID attributes, okay, that you've specified on the element. For instance, now I've created this div with the ID of div container. So let's take, for instance, I want to style this ID, this ID element. So I want to reference it using the ID in my CSS. So to select ID, I use the hash symbol, then the name. That's the key here, the value rather that you specify in the ID for the ID. So it's div container. So select it and ensure you prefix it with this pound sign or hash symbol. Then in the declaration block, if I want to change the background color now, background color, let's give it something like is Q, for instance now. So if you check it out now, the background color has actually changed. Then also apply let's say padding to it. Let's say padding is 3 px, 30 px. And you see now, padding is just the space between the content and the border. So we'll look at that in our future series. So that is how to reference or select elements based on the ID. Let's also look at class selector. That's you actually selecting an HTML based on the class attributes. So I have this paragraph element, say giving the paragraph class. Okay. So if you want to select a class in your CSS, you use the dot, start with the dot, then the name of the class, that is the value that you're giving to the class attributes here. I call it paragraph class. So ensure it is spelled, you spell it correctly, else the CSS rule will not work. So paragraph class. Okay, so let's say I want to change the background color of that particular paragraph. this paragraph here. So I'll change the background color. Also, I'll give it a border around it, background color, and give it something like this one here. And I want to give it a border around it. Border. It's a 1px. That's the width. Then the style is solid. Then the color, we'll give it something like red. If you check it out now, but this is the paragraph that I just read. Okay, then I'll style it up using these properties that I've applied here. This is how to select a class using your prefix with dot, then the name that or the value that you specify here. Okay, so now let's look at universal selector. When you actually want to select any style and element using the universal selector, that means the style you will apply on the element would actually, these properties rather, or the CSS rule that you applied within the declaration block would be applied to all the elements within the page. For instance, now, to use universal selector, use the asterisk. Okay, then the declaration block. Let's say I want to change the background color of all the page, all the for this particular all the elements within the page. I could say, okay, background color, let's say red. See, it has changed the background color of the entire, except the one that I specifically set the background color on is. Or those ones that have not specified the background color, it affects or except those ones that have set the background color on. So you find also let's say I want to give it the font family, not good. Let's say font family. If I give it this, okay, it's all the elements on the page you have this font family to specify here. Let's see everything else being affected. So that is about universal selector. We looked at universal selector, element selector, ID selector, and also class selector. So let's also look at a group selector now. So let me add more content to this. Let's say I have under here, I have H2. So this is the second heading. Okay, now, so I will actually remove the background color that I specified here. This is a comment in CSS. So now I want to use group selector here now. So let's say I want to apply the same CSS rule on all my heading elements. That is H1, H2, and if I have H3 too. So I can actually group them together instead of specify them separately. So I will use group selector, select the element, then use comma to separate them, H1 and H2. So this is group selector. So let's say I want them to have their own font family to be let's say times series times new row by. See now they have their own, this is what others are monospace. Then this one has what times new Roman here now. So if I want them to have the same color, for instance, I can specify the color on it. Let's say color. I can change it to something like let me use blue for instance now. You see the color has actually changed to blue for all the hidden element that I have on the page. So this is group selector. So now let's look at attribute selector. Let's say I have on this page, create a div, then let's see anchor tag here. Okay, again, let's just say learn more. So if I want to style this element, this on this, using the attributes here now, okay, to do that, just preference, okay, using the angle bracket, href, that's the attribute I actually want to style. And what property do I want to apply to this element now? This is the element. Let's say, for instance, I want to remove the underline. I want to increase the font size of that particular anchor tag using these href attributes to style it now. So the text decoration to remove the underline, set specify to be none. If you check it out now, the underline is gone now. So I also want to increase the font size. Font size to, like, let's say 20 px. So if you check it out, the font size has been increased. Let's say I want to make it uppercase, text transform. Uppercase. Then that's actually, so this is called their attribute selector now. Okay. So also, let's also look at pseudo class selector now. Okay. That is this pseudo class. If you just want to change the state, for instance, if I want to change this, you change the state of this element. Take for instance, I want to apply over effect. So if I mouse over it, for instance, now I want the color of this element to the background color to change. Okay, so now you can use pseudo class to achieve that. Pseudo class. So to do that, by say, okay, the anchor element, okay, then colon, then the pseudo class I want to apply is over. Then I want to change the background color, also mouse over it. Background color to be something like, let's give it aquamarine here. So we check it out. Once I move my mouse, you can see that is pseudo class. Let's quickly look at pseudo elements. Okay, so to use pseudo element, let's take for instance that I want to actually apply underline. Okay, for this H1 element, I can use pseudo element to achieve that. Now to use pseudo element, select the element, then use this double column. That's for pseudo element. What is pseudo element to apply is after. Okay, display. Set it to let's say block. Then content. I want the content to be, don't apply anything there. I'll make it just empty string. And I'll specify the width to be like let's say it's 200 px. Yes. Then the height to be something like 4 px. Then the background color to be, let's say, let me use black. Okay. So then if you check it out now, this is applied underline. Okay, using this pseudo element to achieve that. So those are just the basic CSS selectors that we've looked at on this series. So subsequent time, we'll look at how we can actually apply it in a real life